What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers were purchased by Mark Walters, who owns the Dodgers. Many of us are really excited, right? Finally, the Lakers have some deep pockets, like a lot of these other teams in the league now can compete. Now, here's the thing. Got to keep in mind, because I get this question a lot, right? Like, where and how do I think his money will go to use and all that stuff? And, do I think that he'll start spending for, like, remember, baseball doesn't have a salary cap. He can spend and spend and spend. If he wants to have $1 billion payroll, he can have $1 billion payroll. Can't do that in the NBA, right? You have salary caps, you have aprons, you have all these restrictions, right? So you can't go just buy championships, right? So his money is not going to really necessarily affect the Lakers, and it's not going to affect anytime soon, right? Like, his money will come in importance with all the beyond the basketball game stuff, right? So like the facilities, the training, like the G League team, right? The basically farm system of the NBA, right? He's going to invest and put money into that so you can better develop guys. It's not a coincidence that the Lakers went and ponied up all this money, revamped their entire medical team and training staff and all that, right? And then Mark Walters ends up buying it. And then the reports were like, oh, this was like a deal in the works for the last like year and some change, right? Like, I don't think that was a coincidence, right? Because that's what Mark Walters did with the Dodgers when he went and got it, right? So to me, like, it's going to be all that stuff. It's going to be the training facility. It's going to be the doctors. It's going to be all the things that are important, beyond the game of basketball, right? Where the money and spending as far as players and stuff go, that'll be important if there's ever another Alex Caruso situation, right? Like, the Lakers didn't want to pay Alex Caruso because of the luxury tax and everything else. They didn't want to go into the luxury tax for that. They looked at THT and were like, well, we can just kind of use him. He could be the new Caruso. What a terrible decision that was, right? Like, they ended up trading THT, shortly, 2-3 years later, for Patrick Beverley, who was literally the worst offensive player in all of basketball when he was on the Lakers for a stint. Like, it's not my opinion. That was a statistical fact, right? So, we saw how that situation played out and how that situation worked. That's, was very unfortunate. Well, that situation won't happen again under Mark Walters because, again, he'll be like, hey, is it worth it? Like, is he good enough to keep? Does it warrant the going into the tax? Yes, pay him, right? Like, those kind of things. That's where the money comes in. But the big kind of thing is like, okay, well, Mark Walters bought the Lakers. He's going to want to, get in gear immediately and start making the changes, and everything's going to run and flow through him, and he's going to be making all the decisions at the top of the pecking order, and fire Rob and get rid of Jeanie and do all this other stuff, right? Like, Mark Walters is going to come in and clean house and make that. Well, that's not happening. Not happening anytime soon. So Jeanie Buss, based on the reports and herself, she's going to be the head and running everything for at least the next 5 years. So she is signed on for the next 5 years as the one that everything flows through, right? Couple things about this, right? One, from a organizational standpoint, it makes a ton of sense. She's been the face of the Lakers for so long now. You keep it as that. Two, she is excellent at running the business of the Lakers. She is excellent at the business side of the Lakers. Where her issues is the basketball side of the Lakers, right? And listening to Kurt and Linda Rabinowitz and all that stuff. Like, her making the basketball decisions is where the issue lies. She needs to stay out of the basketball stuff and let Rob Pelinka or whoever the GM is run the show, where she gets to kind of just run and operate the Lakers, right? Because she knows it inside and out, and she's very good in that regard. She's a very good businesswoman. She's not a very good basketball woman, right? There's a difference. Right? So to me, like, I'm okay with her running the Lakers, run the the operations side and stuff, but I don't want her necessarily making the decisions for the Lakers as far as the basketball sense goes, right? And then Rob Pelinka. But here's the thing about that, right? So this is the first year that Rob Pelinka is the president of basketball operations. Now, you might be thinking, Tyler, Rob Pelinka was already the president of basketball operations. No. He was the vice president of basketball operations. This offseason is when he got that extension, which my guess is Mark Walters is going to let that play out. You just signed Rob Pelinka. He just got Luka. It buys him time. So Jeanie and Rob, you got this 5-year window to do what you want to do, and then we'll reevaluate it then. We'll see where we're at then, right? And how all parties go. Lakers win 2 championships during that stretch, they're probably going to keep going, right? But if Lakers are an absolute mess and a dumpster fire, then they're probably gone, right? So Mark Walters is coming in and kind of letting things stay intact because, again, he can't make any what major changes can he make, right? Like, he's not going to really be able to implement it. The sale isn't even technically final and official. So, there's a lot that goes into it right now. So let them kind of stay in office as is. Let everything kind of play itself out. See where this goes. Rob just got Luka Doncic. I get it. I understand it. And this is the first year we're going to get to see what can Rob Pelinka actually do. What can Rob Pelinka, without having to go and answer to anybody, because now he's the guy. Everything flows through him. He can stamp those approval letters or deny those approval letters all by himself. The owners and stuff still are going to hear about it. Mark Walters, I imagine, is still going to kind of hear about this stuff, right? Jeanie Buss is still going to hear about this stuff, but he can make the decisions himself. He can give the okay or not one way or another, right? So this will be the first year we're going to get to see what can Rob Pelinka really do. Now, I understand right now he hasn't really done much. I disagree with that, but that's kind of the consensus, right? I mean, he just got potentially the franchise center. He literally got the number 1 pick and traded for Luka in the last, or the number 1 pick in Luka's draft, who is, if you could build a perfect center for Luka in a lab, DeAndre Ayton would be that center, right? So again, this is something that we could be looking at and going dude, Rob Pelinka just basically went from, hey, we're about to lose LeBron in a year or two, and Anthony Davis is on his way out, to we might have just gotten our, LeBron and AD 2.0. Right? Obviously, DeAndre Ayton defensively, he's never going to be Anthony Davis, but defensively, but he's going to be really good, right? Especially alongside Luka Doncic, right? Those two guys could yield multiple championships, right? They also could be a total disaster because DeAndre Ayton can't get out of his own way and continues with all his issues, and it's a total dumpster fire. I don't know. We'll see. But getting DeAndre Ayton was a great move because not only did they get a potential franchise center, but you didn't have to give up any assets in order to go get him. And on top of that, he was probably the best center that they could have even traded for, compared to everyone that's available on the market. So he did a great job there. And Jake LaRavia, I still stand by. I think Laker fans, they're a little kind of questionable on Jake LaRavia. I think Laker fans, by 20 games in, are going to be like, I love that guy. That guy, Jake LaRavia, is better right now than Rui was when we got Rui, because they're basically the same age at the same time when we got him, right? Again, not saying Rui right now, right? I'm saying when we traded for Rui 3 or 4 years ago, right, whatever it was, Jake LaRavia is better right now than Rui Hachimura was then, right? So he's also 23. So if that kind of stays true, Jake LaRavia could be a huge piece for the Lakers. And if the Lakers end up trading Rui Hachimura, he could step in easily into that role, and he is better suited at the 3 than Rui Hachimura is. So I think those pickups are solid. The Jackson Hayes thing, kind of feel either way. People hate it, fine. I don't mind it. I don't want him as our primary backup. I want him as our third big, but I'm okay with the Lakers kind of sticking with what they got right now as far as the center position goes, and then kind of waiting to see what develops and wait and see if that right move or two ends up picking up. And then if it does, all of a sudden you can get Nick Richards for cheap, then yeah, go do it. But I'm okay if the Lakers kind of stay course. I understand Rob, he hasn't made a bunch of trades and done all this other stuff. But again, I want to wait and see what the end result is. I don't want to rush to a conclusion. I said the same thing last year, and then the Lakers ended up getting Dorian Finney-Smith and Luka Doncic. And I was like, this is why I wanted to wait. Right? Because how foolish I would have looked if I was up here Rob Pelinka, this, that, the other, and then all of a sudden he gets Luka Doncic, and I'm up here celebrating and praising Rob, right? It's silly, right? Same thing. I want to wait and see what the end result is. If we get into training camp and nothing else has changed, we'll talk about it. And we'll go over the things accordingly based on what the roster looks like. But I don't want to be too critical on Rob Pelinka, and then all of a sudden they land Bradley Beal, they trade for Andrew Wiggins, they go get some other trade that we don't see, end up landing in Nick Richards and a Chris Middleton, and we're like, dude, Lakers might be the best team in basketball this year, right? Again, I don't know how this is going to look and how this is going to shape up. right? Like, I want to be patient and see and give him a fair shake. And I think Mark Walters is kind of looking at it the same, just more longer than just this season, right? Again, I don't mind Jeanie at the head. I don't mind Jeanie kind of being the one, but I want I hope she stays out of the basketball side of things, right? I've said this for years. Either you trust Rob, and I'm not talking about us fans, we're irrelevant. So the Laker organization, right? If you trust Rob, let him do his job. Stay out of it, right? Like most owners do with their GMs and presidents of basketball operation. Either you trust him or you don't. If you don't trust him, fire him. Get rid of him. Bring in somebody you do. Bring in a Bob Myers. Bring in whoever, right? But if you do trust him, let him do his job. Problem is, Rob Pelinka, there have been multiple moves that Jeanie has just vetoed, right? I still believe to this day, if the Lakers would have landed Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, they would have already probably won a championship. But Jeanie vetoed that, right? Like, it's just, again, I want to see how this plays out before I really judge, but I do think it's interesting that, Jeanie is going to be in office for 5 more years. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. It either goes really well or it goes very poorly, right? We'll see. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.